Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into a really captivating story. It blends historical fact with, enduring legend. We're talking about the tragic tale of Black Sam Bellamy, often called the wealthiest pirate of the golden age of piracy. But this isn't just a story about plunder. It's really a deep dive into ambition, a surprising love story, and, well, a pretty dramatic shipwreck that cemented his place in folklore. Our mission today is to unpack the fascinating details from the sources we've looked at, see how the historical facts sort of intertwine with the legends that grew up around Sam Bellamy and the woman he loved.
Exactly. And we'll be drawing from a few things here, like that History in 5 Minutes or Less piece on Bellamy, an article from Movie Maker about the love story with Goody Hallett,
Right.
and another piece from Kinlan Grover Compass. Together, they really paint a vivid picture of a life that was, well, much more complex than just swashbuckling adventure.
Okay, let's unpack this. So Sam Bellamy's journey to becoming this, incredibly wealthy pirate.
Mm-hmm.
It started in a really unexpected way. Not with lust for gold, apparently, but with love.
Yeah, it's quite something.
So picture this. It's 1715, Cape Cod. We meet Sam Bellamy, young guy, pretty ambitious sailor. The sources say he was born in Great Britain, had experience in the Royal Navy. And his path to piracy really began after meeting this woman, Goody Hallett. Now, her parents were wealthy.
Okay.
And they really disapproved of Sam. They saw him as, just some poor sailor, definitely not good enough for their daughter, who they thought deserved luxury and all that.
The classic story, almost.
Kinda, yeah. But then, things took a turn. Goody found herself pregnant with Sam's child in early 1716. Caused a huge family disarray, as you can imagine.
Right. Big scandal back then.
Absolutely. So Sam left Cape Cod. He went off to join these guys seeking treasure from a Spanish fleet that had wrecked off Florida in a hurricane the year before.
Ah, the famous treasure fleet.
Exactly. His motivation seems pretty clear. Make a name for himself, get rich, give Goody the life she supposedly deserved. Although it's a bit unclear from what we read if he actually knew she was pregnant when he left.
That's a key point. But what's fascinating here is how these really personal desires, love, wanting a better life, can be such powerful catalysts. Powerful enough to push someone towards a life as extreme as piracy.
Totally. It really challenges that simple image of pirates just being greedy thugs, doesn't it?
It does. It adds a whole layer of human motivation that's often overlooked.
So Sam and his crew, they get to the Spanish wreck site, only to find other people, including the notorious Benjamin Hornigold, had basically picked it clean already.
Oh, bad timing.
Right. So rather than just sail home empty-handed, he actually joins forces with Hornigold. And this is where things get really interesting. His rise was incredibly fast.
Yeah, the sources mention he quickly became Hornigold's right-hand man.
And then pretty soon after, there was a mutiny. And Bellamy ended up taking over Hornigold's crew, just like that.
So ambition kicked in quickly once the opportunity arose.
Seems like it. And it was around this time he got the nickname Black Sam Bellamy. Now, you might think that sounds ominous, like it implies dark deeds or something.
Yeah, it sounds pretty intimidating.
But actually, the sources tell us it was just because he liked to tie his long black hair back with a ribbon. He refused to wear those fashionable powdered wigs that gentlemen wore.
Ah, so more of a fashion statement, less about his character. Interesting detail.
Yeah, and his reputation, his fortune, they just grew and grew.
Yeah.
During his really short career, it wasn't long at all, Bellamy captured 53 ships.
53. That's prolific.
It's huge. And he amassed something like $120 million in plunder, adjusted for today's money. Just staggering.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Bellamy really did defy a lot of pirate stereotypes. His sort of merciful nature earned him another nickname, the Robin Hood of the Sea.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah.
Because he often spared captives' lives.
Exactly. And supposedly redistributed some wealth. Now, how much of that is romanticized, we don't know for sure, but it definitely adds layers to his legend beyond just, standard piracy. He wasn't just seen as a brute.
That Robin Hood image definitely makes him stand out. And maybe that reputation helped him with his biggest prize. In 1717, he made his most famous capture, the slave ship Whydah Galley.
Ah, the Whydah.
Yeah, seized it on its triangular trade route. He quickly decided he liked the Whydah more than his old ship, the Sultana, and made it his flagship.
A powerful, fast ship, perfect for a pirate flagship.
So what does this all mean? Well, he's got the ship, he's got the fortune, and he decides to sail back to Cape Cod.
Back to Goody.
Back to Goody. The plan was apparently to retire from piracy, live out his days with her. It really seems like he was ready to trade the high seas adventure for, domestic bliss.
Which raises a really interesting question, though. What were the complexities of a pirate just deciding to retire? It wasn't exactly a job with a pension plan.
Good point.
And also, the choice of the White Galley, a slave ship, as his flagship, it forces us to think about the era, doesn't it? The brutal realities of his operations, even if he had this Robin Hood image. We're not endorsing anything, of course, but it's part of the history.
Absolutely. It adds that uncomfortable layer. And unbeknownst to Bellamy, while he's out there making his fortune, a truly devastating parallel story is unfolding for Goody back home.
Yeah, it's rough.
She'd given birth to their child while he was gone. Local legends suggest the baby died soon after birth. And Goody, just consumed by grief and shame, was actually blamed for the death.
Blamed? How?
The sources don't spell it out precisely, but the implication is neglect, or maybe worse, given the times. She was imprisoned. And after she was released, she was exiled from her town, Wellfleet, Massachusetts.
Just cast out.
Yeah. And this marked her tragic transformation.
And what's really striking here is how society's judgment, combined with that immense personal tragedy, can just warp a person, cast out, isolated. The stories say Goody grew bitter, consumed by rage, maybe madness.
Becoming the Witch of Wellfleet.
Exactly. That label, Witch of Wellfleet, it just haunted her. It's a brutal example of how communities could turn on people, especially women, who didn't fit the mold or suffered misfortune.
It's just heartbreaking, isn't it? It adds such a heavy layer of human cost to the whole swashbuckling tale.
It really does.
So after 2 long years away, Bellamy finally sets sail again. He's determined to get back to Goody, start this new life. The White is leading his fleet. Journey starts smoothly.
Heading home.
But then, the night of April 26, 1717, disaster. Just like that. A sudden, incredibly violent storm hits.
Right off Cape Cod, wasn't it?
Exactly. Swept the ship onto a sandbar in only about 16 feet of water. The White's mast just snapped. The ship was so heavily loaded with treasure, it capsized almost immediately.
So close to shore, too.
Agonizingly close. It was a terrible, tragic turn. 143 pirates drowned in that wreck. Only 2 crew members survived.
That's 2 out of the whole crew.
Just 2. And Black Sam Bellamy.
Yeah.
His body was never found, never recovered.
And if you think about the bigger picture, this catastrophic event really underscores just how unpredictable and brutal the sea is, even for the most experienced sailors like Bellamy. It also just highlights the extreme risks that were just part of their daily lives. One bad storm and everything, the fortune, the plans, the life itself, gone in an instant.
And the legend. Oh, the legend ties it all together so chillingly. It says that on that very night, the night of the storm, Goody Hallett was seen.
Where?
Standing on top of a cliff, looking down at the wreck of the Weda.
Wow.
Some stories say she was cursing the storm that took her love. Others whisper. Well, they whisper that maybe she caused the storm.
As the Witch of Wellfleet, in a fit of vengeful rage.
Exactly. Maybe for his abandonment, or maybe just rage at fate. The sources are clear, we don't know the truth. It's likely just folklore, but the tale of Goody and Sam became this incredibly powerful, tragic part of the local legend.
That image of her on the cliff, it's haunting.
Isn't it? So the Weda Galley, it just lay there, lost for centuries. For generations, it was just part of local stories, pirate lore. Until 1984.
That's when they found it.
That's when they found it. Finally discovered off the coast of Wellfleet.
Which raises the question, how does an archaeological discovery like that not just confirm, but actually enrich these historical narratives?
That's a great point. What did they find?
Well, the wreckage revealed so much. Not just treasure, but everyday items, tools, weapons. Things that told the real story of life aboard Bellamy's pirate ship. It helped corroborate a lot of the stories and legends about his rise and fall.
So you put some real flesh on the bones of the legend.
Absolutely. It gave us a tangible connection to Bellamy, his crew, the Whydah itself. But while we can piece together more facts about Bellamy's life now, a lot of the story, especially, the Goody Hallett side of things, much of that remains shrouded in mystery and folklore.
Yeah. The story of Black Sam Bellamy, it really is this incredible blend of ambition, love, maybe betrayal, and just profound tragedy. His career was so brief, but so impactful, catapulted him to fame and fortune. Yet it seems his heart really remained with Goody Hallett, the woman he loved, and the woman who, according to the legends at least, cursed the very sea for taking him away.
And his story, so deeply intertwined with Goody's, it's as much a part of pirate lore today as the treasure he chased, the ships he plundered, and that final fatal storm. It's just such a compelling example of how history and folklore weave together, creating this powerful narrative that still resonates centuries later.
It really does. So what does the enduring power of this tragic tale, this mix of fact and folklore, tell us about how we process history, how we grapple with human emotion?
That's a deep question.
And it makes you wonder what other historical figures might have equally compelling, maybe lesser-known personal stories hiding behind their public legends. Lots to think about there.
Definitely.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it gave you plenty to think about.